Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at this absolutely badass mobile suit right here, which is the high-grade Psycho Doga. This right here is a Japanese exclusive, only available to actually purchase at Gundam Side F in Japan. So if you're looking to grab one of these of your own, your choices are fly over to Japan, go to Side F and buy this. Or you can do what I did and get it through BUYEE. I'll throw a link down there in the description, and I bought this through Mercari. Now, before I actually jump into anything at all, you might want to know exactly what this mobile suit is because it may not be that familiar to you. I know when I saw this come out, I had no idea what it was. So, basically, you know Gundam Char's Counterattack, the absolutely classic and iconic 1980s Gundam movie. Well, there's a novel version of that called Chica's Children. That's what Nightingale is from. Nightingale is basically a variant of Sazabi, so it's the novel version of Sazabi. It's a different retelling, different alternate version of Char's Counterattack, and the Nightingale is the Sazabi, aka Char's personal mobile suit. Now the Psycho Doga right here, this is a variant of the Jacked Doga, the kind of green and yellow bird looking version of a Gira Doga, piloted by this guy right here. Well, what we're looking at today, the Psycho Doga, is the variant of that, also from Chica's Children. This is a ridiculously cool design. I love it. Clad entirely in pristine white. It almost has like a naval cap looking head. That is ridiculous. We've got those tri-boosters around back, which is one of my favorite booster designs when it comes to mobile suits. We've got a bunch of funnels shoved into the shoulders. I love this design. And one more thing I will mention, I noticed on the front of the box right here, faded out a little bit, is this right here. Now, we've seen time and time again with Bandai that they'll put a faded out or distant version of a mobile suit in the back that they will release in future. I don't know about this one, but here is hoping. This right here is the Alpha Aziru. Basically an absolutely giant mobile armor. This is as long as the Neo Zeon, and that is one of the biggest high grades of all time. I would love to see this get a high grade. It's such a cool, classic design and deserves it. Anyway, let's get right into the review. So just a quick note on the build. Inside of the box we get quite a bit of plastic. This is heavily based on the 2008 version of the Gira Doga, but we've got some new aspects for using the shoulders, the chest, head, and the backpack, which really do update this very nicely. Now I just did a straight build here. The color separation and everything you're going to see is exactly what you get out of box. Some is good from the new parts, some is a little bit plain off of the old parts, but altogether this is a very nice kit visually, and I guess let's get right on into the visuals. So when it comes to the aesthetics of the high-grade Psycho Doga, this is a very unique looking mobile suit. This looks almost more like a white version of Sazabi as opposed to a white version of the Gira Doga. So physically a lot of this would be exactly the same as what we would have seen before. If you take the legs, the waist unit, and the arms, those are exactly physically identically the parts from the Gira Doga, just cast in white. What's brand new here is the chest, the shoulders, and the head, and the backpack, and these parts look incredible. The color separation in the thrusters up in the shoulders looks so good. The funnels up there looking incredibly nicely detailed. The head is ridiculously crisp with some great color separation. All the new parts are pretty much almost 100% color accurate, and I will mention this is it out of box, so no panel lining, no nothing. This looks so cool, but could look even more detailed with some lines on there. So like I mentioned, this kit right here is heavily based on the 2008 version of the Gira Doga. And as is the case a lot of time when Bandai does actually do that, base kits on older kits like this, that does mean we do have a lot. And I mean a lot of leftover parts. So when it comes to the parts left over from the Gira Doga, we've got the entire shields, at least the white sections of them, the backpack, the parts to make up the shoulders. We've got the entire head in here because the head has been replaced. That is with the antenna and without the antenna. We have the chest and the back sections, but I will mention the internals have been used on this kit, so those don't be in here, good grammar. We've got the top of those kind of rocket segments. There's a bit of a clavicle section again. The inner parts of the chest aren't in here, and we do have a little bit that there is for the head. Some more of the chest parts, the shoulder. We've got the other shoulder there, which is like a big shield. We've got the rest of the backpack, the original verniers that would have been from the Gira Doga. So you've got a lot of verniers, which is a nice thing to actually have on hand for custom. So a good few of those. And there is the Gyaradoga's front skirting armors. Some other parts for little bits and pieces. There's a part for the head. We do have what looks to be a section of a weapon. We've got the different beam rifles and machine guns that were included with that kit. A couple of joint parts and those Panzer Fausts or whatever they're called. Those little hand rocket launcher things that the Zeon mobile suits have. So yeah, if getting a couple of included extra parts as a bonus too, then those are in here for customs, wrecked mobile suits and dioramas, etc. Back to the Psycho Doga, this thing is incredible. I am blown away. Sure, it is a little bit dated in some aspects, but the overall look here, the silhouette is ridiculous. And I love the tri-booster round back. That's one of my favorite design aspects of stuff like the Gerbera Gundam. I love those backpacks. They're so cool. Again, so much detail. A lot of it will need to be panellined because it is lost in there a little bit. And like I said, this looks a little bit like a white Sazabi. So let's grab a Sazabi. So it may look a little bit somewhat like a Sazabi, but as you can see, it is nowhere near as big. If you're wondering what happened to that side skirt, so am I. So I have no idea where it is, must be on the floor somewhere. Even though it is a little bit smaller than Sazabi, it's still a whole damn sight bigger than your average size Gundam. So there it is side by side with the Oryx 78-2 Beyond Global. If we were having some kind of multiversal throwdown, there is the high-grade Gundam Aerial Permit Score 6. High-grade Gundam Exia, high-grade Gundam G Self, and Char's mobile suit from the exact same novel, the absolutely gargantuan high-grade Nightingale. Finally, when it does come to the included stickers in here, there are just 3. That is one for on the mono eye. We've got one right there in the middle, that is for the camera round back, and that's not on the back of the head on this unit, it's actually on the backpack, which is unique. And finally, we do have this little bit of a neck decal section, which we might as well throw on right now. So attaching this on is super simple, it's just the same as any sticker. It's a sticker, not a decal, and it looks just like that right there once it's attached. So it does what it needs to do, simple as. For the most part, this kit right here is color accurate besides one little aspect, which is these thrusters here on the ankles. These should be in yellow, but they're not. So if you detail them up, it'll pretty much be perfect. So jumping now into the accessories, and here's everything that comes with the Psycho Doga. And what we've gotten here is the Beam Assault Rifle, the Shield, 6 variants of the funnels, these are in the in-flight form, and we also have 2 variants of the Beam Sword Axe, well 3 technically, an axe, a kind of pointy axe, and the Beam Saber variant. Finally then we do have 2 alternate hands in here, one is for holding the rifle, and that is for a grand total of 4 hands, but there is only 3 backs. So when it comes to the hands in here, we've got this pair of fists and or holding hands. I guess it's a little bit of a combination of both. That is both a left and a right of that. When it comes to the hand options, first up we do have one left widespread relaxed hand. In order to attach this, you just pop off the one you don't want, pop this one on. And I will mention though, we do only have one back in here for using with these pair of hands, so it's choose one or the other. It's simple enough, you just pull it off the back of the fist, stick it onto the back of the widespread hand like so. Would have been nice to see a full set, but this really isn't the worst. The hand itself, the widespread one right here, is very nicely sculpted and looks really, really good from every single angle. The other alternate hand we have in here is this one right here. This is for using with the machine gun, but we'll talk about that a little bit more when we're talking about the machine gun. I just left it attached onto the handle because it's just simpler that way. It's not like you're going to use it for anything else. So the first of the equipment we have in here is the Beam Axe. We've got 2 variants of this. That's an extended one and a shorter one. One is basically for the Beam Saber, one is for the axe mode. Now these are also meant to be in a kind of light green like the rifle, but they're not, so that is worth mentioning. Might need a spray. Attaching the Beam Sword Axe is super simple. You just slide it into either or of the holding hands like so. To have it in axe mode, you just pop on in the axe segment like this, which looks like so. This, once again, is a 15-year-old effect part, so it looks a little bit on the basic side, but it gets the job done. Nothing fancy, but it looks okay. So we do have an alternate axe head for using on this. That's the pointy one. To attach that, it's exactly the same. Just pop it in where the axe-shaped one was, and that is what it looks like. This looks like it might be a little bit more armor-piercing than what we would have seen before, but quite similar, just a different shape. So there are 2 variants of the Beam Sword Axe in here. The long one we're just looking at, and we have a short one too. Swapping these out is super simple. It's just a case of popping them in and out just like so. And the difference with this one is this puts the sword in Beam Sword Axe. So this can only be used with the beam effect, or should I say the beam sword effect. That is this one right here. So that's what it looks like in the beam sword mode. So somewhat like a beam saber, but a little bit more vigorous. Just a little, a tad. So when this is not in use, you can just pop it out of the hand like so, get rid of that beam. flip right on around to the back here. And you can just store that beam sword handle thing right into the back just like so. I'll mention once again, just like this image right here, this should be in a green color, not in white. So you will have to fix that yourself if you want to. So the next weapon we have in here is the beam assault rifle. This is extremely nice, but it is quite a simple design. It is exclusive to this kit right here. Attaching it into the hand is simple. This is just your normal sandwich style hand. It's just sandwiched in there and you pop it on in the usual kind of way, ball joint attachment. Now this can't really move around in the hand so much. It is limited as to where it can actually rest, and it does only really have one angle. On top of that, the detail here is a little bit lost. The soft green plastic, or should I say soft colored, almost pastel green plastic, doesn't really make the details pop too much, so you will have to get this panel lined to get the full detail out. Even though it looks like it, that magazine cannot be removed, even though that would have been a really cool feature. This is gunmetal and green and doesn't do a whole lot, but it does look ridiculously unique. Next up in here now is the shield. This is extremely nice. We've got the yellow logo there coming through the shield itself. We do have some little indentations all over the surface of this. And then around back, this is actually cast in the gunmetal gray, so it does look like an actual thick piece of armor. We've got grenades down bottom. We've got what look to be smoke launchers up top. And as for the attachments section right here, that's one of those where you can kind of choose your angle. Just pop it out and have it like on the back of the arm or the side of the arm. And I'm going to go with the side, just like that. So the last thing we've got in here is the funnels. Now we've got 6 alternate versions of these. These are the ones that are in flight. These are to replace the ones that are in the shoulders, which can be removed. Now I will mention, there is nothing inside of this box in order to display these, which is a little bit of a letdown, so you'll have to bring your own. What I'm going to be using is an Action Base 4, as well as the Witch from Mercury sold separate option parts, which are basically for displaying the bit staves from the Witch from Mercury. These fit perfect, so you just pop them onto the end of these like so. They can attach into an action base. And while I was doing that, I also realized these can attach into where the funnels were removed from the Psycho Doga. So that does mean there's a lot of potential in here. So it means you can have them launching out from the shoulders in a cool kind of display. Now, some kind of curved display stands would probably look a little bit better for this, and I will mention they're not entirely tight inside of them, so longer ones will not really work. These will work with any kind of 3mm peg stand, like the simple stand which I use in all of my videos. They can pop onto those and get them all attached on, and this is what it looks like. This looks incredible. These are extremely nice, pretty much the same sort of funnels we would have seen with Sazabi, if I'm not mistaken. These don't move or open up or anything like we would have saw with the real grade Sazabi, but they do look ridiculously nice. These look nice displayed, and with a nice display stand, these could look awesome. So lastly, now moving on to the articulation. For the most part, this holds up to the wiggle test quite well. There is a little bit of wiggle in the upper leg, sometimes a little bit of dropping backwards because of all the thrustage around back, but for the most part, this holds up quite well. Let's test it out. Articulation wise, this is incredibly dated. It can't pull off much at all. Everything, everywhere is pretty limited. So that is the best low lunge this can pull off. Definitely nothing to write home about, but it is solid enough for the most part for now. There really isn't a whole lot to say here. It doesn't really do much anywhere. It's got ball joint hips that are really limited. The knees, ankles are all classic polycap, basic joints, and you don't get too much. Now, I will mention I do have a little bit of a warning right here because I did break a piece on this kit. That is this little pipe right here. That got broken on me due to one reason, and that is when you pull the leg out this far, the tops of those parts come out past the armor segment. Let's see if I can get that a little bit brighter so you can see. And basically they are outside of that area, so if you have them off to the side at all and you're bending that back, those are so brittle and so easy to snap. So if you do hyperextend the knee for some poses, they will come out. Be extremely careful with those. Besides that, it doesn't really do a whole lot. The backpack can rotate, like, well, move side to side ever so slightly, a bit of up and down, but everything on this doesn't really do a whole lot. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this is a silver tier gunpla, and it is okay. Of course, the main reason for that is it is based on a 15-year-old kit, which is the Gira Doga, which is a little bit limited in a lot of aspects. But the brand new parts really do bring this to the next level. The shoulders look fantastic, the face and head look fantastic, and the backpack is pretty cool too. All the new emblems all over the place really do work so well, and the new parts really do bring the Gyrodoga body up to the next level. This looks great, looks fantastic. Panline it, put it on your shelf. This will look so cool and stand out. It's a fairly sizable kit too when it comes to high grade. The accessories in here are very nice as well. For the most part, they are just reused. The new machine gun is very simple but looks good, and the new shield looks phenomenal. However, it does absolutely drop the ball when it does come to posing potential, the articulation, and the fact that some stands could have been included for attaching on those funnels. That would have looked pretty cool if those were included too, but they are not. On the whole though, it is a really cool kit. If you're hitting up Side F in Fukuoka, then this is an awesome thing to pick up. If you're not, then you can grab yours where I got mine, and that is through BUYEE. Link in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, this video right here would not have been possible without each and every single one of you guys who watches my videos, and all of these awesome people right here who help out on the channel memberships and over on Patreon, including 10 Soldier YT, Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Dashil Marmion, Golel Rockstar, Joe, Lauren Sihak, or G95061, 10 Soldier YT again, and Van Fawn.